My name is Lee Moran, and I'm the Program Manager for the International Diaspora Engagement Alliance, or IDEA, and a Senior Officer on the Strategic Initiatives team at Calvert Foundation. With me on the call are Sarah Gallagher, Program Officer for IDEA, and Thuy Nguyen, our launch partner from MicroMentor. This webinar is meant to target those interested in using the MicroMentor platform as mentors. Yesterday, we hosted a webinar that targeted those interested in using the platform as mentees and entrepreneurs. If you missed that webinar, you'll be able to access the recording next week at our website, diasporaalliance.org/mentoring. In case you are new to IDEA, a bit of background. IDEA is a public-private partnership between the U.S. Department of State, USAID, and Calvert Foundation, who is the managing partner. IDEA harnesses the passion, energy, and resources of diaspora individuals and organizations in contributing back to their countries of heritage through investment in entrepreneurship, philanthropy, volunteerism, innovation, and more. We're also committed to helping build the capacity of diaspora organizations and entrepreneurs to enable them to better serve their constituents and to make a greater impact back home. And that is why IDEA is excited to host this webinar as a part of a series of capacity development trainings that we are working on throughout 2015. To learn more about these webinars and other programming, please visit our website at diasporaalliance.org and sign up for membership. Membership is free and provides access to resources such as these trainings, networking opportunities, and more. A bit about our MicroMentor group as well. So IDEA launched our e-mentoring group on MicroMentor in late 2014 as a way to support diaspora entrepreneurs in our networks, as well as to provide a way for the business experts in our membership to give back to their countries of heritage. IDEA group members can connect with one another based on skills, expertise, and business needs, but they can also search for one another based on things like language, affiliation, or other characteristics. If you can't find the right match within the IDEA group, you still have access to the larger MicroMentor community, which is over 6,000 strong. Today's webinar has two central goals. The first is for listeners to gain an understanding of how to use the MicroMentor platform, and the second is for listeners to gain some tips and guidance on how to have a successful mentoring relationship. And with that, I will turn it over to Sarah Gallagher, Program Officer for IDEA.
Hi, everyone, and thanks, Lee, for the introduction to IDEA and to our MicroMentor group. I'm excited to be here today and talk to you a bit about the platform. So the agenda today will cover what MicroMentor is and some indicators from its past success. Then we'll jump into learning about how to use the actual web platform. After we talk about how to sign up and get matched with a mentee, we'll get into a discussion about mentoring. We can discuss the mentor's role in the relationship and provide some good practices and advice for how to have an effective mentoring relationship and how both parties can get the most out of the experience. So what's MicroMentor? It's an easy and accessible online platform that connects entrepreneurs and business professionals in business relationships. The platform is free to use, and it's currently available in English, Spanish, and French, actually. There are many kinds of mentorship, but today we're going to be focusing on business mentoring, which is when a mentor advises an entrepreneur through a key business issue. How do we know business mentoring and the micro platform work? Every year, MicroMentor reaches out to the entrepreneurs in its community, and it polls them about the impact mentoring has had on their businesses. Unsurprisingly, they found that mentoring is correlated to success. In 2014 alone, the entrepreneurs in MicroMentor's community saw an approximately 10% higher survival rate than businesses that did not receive mentoring. And impressively, 83% of them saw revenue growth compared to only 16% of businesses who did not have mentors. And finally, 90% of business owners using MicroMentor hired additional staff. So mentoring makes a big difference, and by mentoring an entrepreneur, you can use your skills and experience to help a young business succeed, grow, and even support development in their economy. Before we jump into the details, here's an overview of how the platform works. First, you sign up to join the IDEA group on the platform at www.micromentor.org/IDEA. Next, you'll create a profile for yourself. You want to describe your expertise concisely, but be sure to list your potentially varied and vast experiences because you never know what kind of skills or experience a mentee will be searching for. Once you've completed your profile, you can begin searching for entrepreneurs to mentor by reading through mentoring requests, which tell you what their business issue is. Fourth, you send an offer to an entrepreneur that you think you can help. We ask both mentors and mentees to really be proactive about reaching out to other users on the platform in order to maximize the potential for matching. If we're all sitting around waiting for someone to contact us, no one's ever going to get matched. Finally, once a mentee accepts your offer, you'll be matched. It's important to note that once you send a mentoring offer to an entrepreneur and they accept, you're paired. So be sure not to send more than one offer at a time unless you intend to mentor multiple entrepreneurs at once. Now we'll just run through the sign-up process with a bit more detail. Again, the first step is to go to our group page and sign up. So when you get there, you click Get Started, and when you're filling out your basic information like name and email address, you select Be a Mentor. Next, you'll be prompted to complete your profile. Here you include your background and basic information about your business experience. You'll also answer a few other questions to help mentees search for you, such as what your mentoring style is like. The next step of creating your profile includes describing your business experience. If you don't complete outlining your business expertise, you won't actually be able to advance and use the platform and ultimately connect with a mentee. Entrepreneurs will look carefully at your profile to determine if you have the expertise that they're looking for, so please be thorough when you're completing it. Put down the expertise you have, but be careful not to include too much or too little. This is sort of a just right formula. How an entrepreneur will determine if you might be the right fit. Think about and be sure to state what type of mentees you're suited for in terms of business stage, for example, so that you'll be invited by and will offer to mentor an entrepreneur that is the right fit for you. So to sum that up, the 3 things to remember about a strong profile are that they're complete, it indicates your expertise, and it articulates what kind of mentee you are suited for. On the other hand, a bad profile is incomplete, has no details, and does not appeal to beneficiaries. This includes the profile photo, which I can't stress enough. Mentees and mentors are more likely to select someone to be paired with if they can match a face to the name. Additionally, an incomplete profile means entrepreneurs won't be able to identify the value that you can offer. It really only takes about 5 minutes to complete your profile properly, and that ensures that you're able to connect with the very best beneficiary for your given areas of expertise. Just as you would determine if an entrepreneur is the right match for you based on the content of their profile and their mentoring request, they're going to be doing the same thing, looking at your profile and using that to determine if you're a good fit. After you've completed your profile, you're ready to browse for mentees on the platform. The best way to do this is to browse the mentoring requests and to find the best fit given your expertise. Since the mentoring relationship is built around solving a specific business challenge, you'll want to consider the specific requests a mentee is making as well as their overall profile. You can do this by searching open mentoring requests on the group page. Once you find a request that you believe you can help with, you send the entrepreneur a mentoring offer. Within this search, you'll be able to identify idea entrepreneurs based on the badge right below their profile picture. So if you can see on the screen, it shows a check mark and the badge says Member, International Diaspora Engagement Alliance. As IDEA builds relationships with some other partners who also have their own membership bases, you'll be able to identify their members as well based on these badges. Once you've found a mentee with a business challenge you can help, make a mentoring offer. You may also have received invitations from entrepreneurs to mentor them, and this is also a place where you can review and offer to help from within these invitations. You should note that entrepreneurs receive, or they could receive multiple mentoring offers, but they're only able to accept one offer at a time. So if you don't hear back from the beneficiary quickly, you might want to reach out a second time to follow up. If they've received an offer and accepted from another mentor, it'll show that your mentoring offer has expired. The beneficiary has 2 weeks to respond to your offer before it expires otherwise. And if the beneficiary is unresponsive, you can reach out to us and see if they're interested in the services you have to provide. And you would also withdraw your mentoring offer from the unresponsive beneficiary. So once a mentee accepts your offer, you can begin mentoring because you're matched. And that's pretty much it. The platform's really easy to use. So now we're going to talk about your role as a mentor and the mentoring relationship. This is just as important as actually getting matched. It's what are you going to do once you have a mentee and they're looking at you for advice. So only the entrepreneur in you really should define what your roles look like. For example, how frequently you meet, how long the relationship will last. Generally, MicroMentor recommends meeting once or twice a week for about 3 months, but of course this is determined by the actual business challenge that you're addressing together and how long you think it'll take to get to the solution. So here's some guidelines to give you an idea of what the experience could be like. Dig into the challenge. You can help the beneficiary to dig into their business needs to understand the root of the issue. There may be other issues that arise when you're digging, but it's really important to stay focused on the one issue and tackle only one thing at a time. Framing ideas. You can provide frameworks, methodologies, or approaches to your mentee. For example, a mentor could introduce a beneficiary to the Agile or Lean Six Sigma methodologies. But when you're doing this, you should understand that though this can be beneficial to the mentee, they may not have a formal business education or background, and so you'll have to be sort of clear and patient in when you're providing this advice. Brainstorm. Many, if not all of the beneficiaries will heavily rely on your business background and expertise to help them talk through and brainstorm solutions to their challenges. This alone, just the brainstorming, sitting down and talking about ideas is really valuable to the mentee, especially as they might not have the time, knowledge, bandwidth to do this on their own without you. Operationalize. Your beneficiary may need a clear sense of specific activities to undertake to address their challenge. You can help by providing concrete activities for them. This one you probably expected. Share your experiences. Throughout your engagement, you'll be offering good practices and lessons learned based on the experiences you've gained throughout your career. Your advice is valuable, and know that your mentee appreciates it and values it, but they might not always see eye to eye with you, and that's just part of a healthy mentoring relationship. So we want to emphasize that open discussions and idea sharing are really important to the sort of health of your mentoring relationship. Finally, review. If you're working on a deliverable or project with your beneficiary, your role might involve reviewing documents, deliverables, or products, and then providing feedback. So once you've gotten together with your mentee and determined the goals for your relationship, you'll have a clear sense of which of the tools that I've just talked about might be most useful in your relationship. You can think about the mentoring relationship in 4 phases. We recommend that you follow this process for an optimal mentoring relationship, but at the same time, we understand that every relationship is different, and you should too, and be prepared to be flexible. So phase 1 is building trust. The mentoring relationship at its core is a relationship between 2 people. So we really want you to get to know each other before you start approaching a business problem together. We recommend that in your first conversation with your mentee, you take about 60 minutes and take the opportunity to lay ground rules, explore key questions that might be critical to the success of the relationship, and create a plan for future interaction. Get to know their communication styles, their expectations. You're going to want to know, is it best for you guys to meet in person, over the phone, via Skype, some other method? This is a good conversation to get to know each other and set these ground rules. Before the conclusion of the first meeting, you're going to assign the Framing the Issue worksheet as homework to your mentee so that your second meeting can focus on identifying the specific challenges and setting about. You can actually find the worksheet on the Idea Group page when you log in to MicroMentor. It's in the document section at the bottom of the group page, along with some other resources that we've provided. Phase 2 is framing the issue. Your second meeting should focus on this almost entirely. If the mentee did not fully complete the worksheet, which is common, sometimes they need the mentor's help to actually get through it, the 2 of you can finish it together. But the worksheet is going to help you and your beneficiary answer critical questions that will inform your relationship and the guidelines surrounding it, as well as your role as a mentor. The third phase is staying the course. You want to remain consistent and committed to the goals you agreed upon during your first 2 conversations and what you've outlined in the Framing the Issue worksheet. You should be considerate of your beneficiary's other time commitments and obligations, as well as the boundaries they've set. If you feel at any point during the relationship that expectations are shifting, you should be respectfully candid and clarify those expectations. It's really important to maintain open communication and ensure that the relationship remains honest and that you both have the desired result from this engagement. fourth phase. This is almost as important as the first one. It's deciding whether to conclude or continue your relationship. So once you've wrapped up the engagement, you've solved the business challenge, you should celebrate accomplishments with your partner. Talk about how you helped each other, what lessons you learned from the engagement. And most importantly, meet and have an open conversation about whether or not you want to conclude or continue the relationship. Maybe you decide that for the time being, it's better to choose a different partner for the next several months, and that's fine. But it's really important to have an actual conversation and formally close or continue the relationship. Finally, we want to give you some tips for a successful mentoring relationship. MicroMentor users have found that these are things that really can create a healthy and productive relationship. The first is self-awareness. You should know what you want to achieve from the relationship and communicate it clearly to your mentee. They should do the same. A clear understanding of your purpose and desired result will help you recognize relationships that will be mutually beneficial and will prevent future confusion or disappointment. Active listening. This one's a really important to keep in mind when you're working with your mentee. You should get to know the entrepreneur well before jumping into problem solving, as we recommended that the first meeting is really just getting to know each other. And good listening to take your advice and appreciate it if they think that your approach is taking their specific case into account. Patience. All relationships take time. Don't expect immediate results or try to force a relationship. Punctuality. You should be on time to each meeting and definitely expect the same from your mentee. Communication. Don't expect the beneficiary to read your mind. This is where we want you to have open and honest communication throughout the relationship. Curiosity. Don't be afraid to ask for clarification if you don't understand something. And for the mentee, we really want them to feel like they can ask you for clarification, especially if you've introduced something new to them, such as one of the methodologies we talked about before. Preparedness. Follow through on commitments before each meeting. Clarity. Speaking clear, simple language. Emphasize business basics. And recognize, again, that not all entrepreneurs have access to a formal business education or technical education. Assertiveness. Be direct and thorough in your advice if you feel strongly about it. And sensitivity, finally. Understand where the entrepreneur is coming from. Again, they'll respond better that takes into account their unique situation. So thank you for listening, and we'll take questions now. Lee, I'm not sure, do we have any questions from the audience? Do you want to, let's see. There's a question from yesterday that maybe we can talk about. Twee, you may be best suited to answer this one, and it's about when people might want to be both a mentor and a mentee. Maybe for their particular business, they could still use some advice, but they are suited to help someone who's at the very beginning stages of their business. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yes. So when you're signing up on MicroMentor, you'll be given a choice to sign up as a mentor, an entrepreneur. So I would choose the role that is going to be your primary role. But you are able to also create another, either an entrepreneurial profile if you choose your primary role to be a mentor. How you would do that is to go into your settings, edit them, and then fill in the entrepreneurial profile. Oftentimes we've seen that entrepreneurs who've gotten help on MicroMentor really want to give back, and they then become mentors. Or mentors who have vast years of expertise in a certain field, but are also starting something on their own that need assistance in that particular endeavor. They will go on and create an entrepreneur profile. So you are encouraged to do both, but I would recommend you choose the role that is primary to where you're at, either in expertise or needing expertise.
Thanks, Twee. We had a little bit of feedback on your response, but I think it came through clearly enough. Another question that I think you might be able to answer is from Richard in the UK. He's asking about success stories to date Richard, for the idea group, we just launched in December, and people are really still joining the platform and being matched. Once we, in order to have sort of success stories or actually be able to report on how many people are matched and what the results of the relationship are, for the idea group, you probably won't see them until early spring when people have actually had a chance to be paired and go through the process. But Twee, can you maybe provide some, maybe from another partner, provide some examples of an example of a success story, or how MicroMentor really does help people in groups like this?
Yeah, so we have a lot of great success stories. Can you guys still hear that echo? I'm going to actually just log out of this so that you don't have to hear me anymore.
It's okay right now.
So we have a lot of success stories on our website, and you can go into log on to MicroMentor and learn more and read about the success stories. But a great success story is we are working with this organization called Increasing Hope, and they also launched their own mentoring program as well, powered by MicroMentor. The wonderful thing is the founder and CEO of Increasing Hope, her name is Dorothea. Dorothea got started on MicroMentor. She was an entrepreneur trying to start a nonprofit and needed expertise and advice in mentoring, and had been on the platform for a number of years and had many great mentors who've helped her jumpstart and make her business possible. So that's a really great closed loop story of the success of how she got a lot of great help on MicroMentor, and in the end is using MicroMentor to help the entrepreneurs that she is, who are her beneficiaries for her nonprofit.
Thanks, Twee. Let's see, we do have a couple other questions streaming in. And Twee, I'm just going to mute you until we need you to answer a question, just for the feedback. So,
sure.
Let's see. So, Diaspora Engager from the U.S. asks, do you recommend using Skype or email to talk to a mentor, or is it better to message everything through the platform? So, MicroMentor doesn't actually have the communications infrastructure set up. It's only really a matching platform. You can, within the idea group, there are discussion boards, and you can pose a question that people can answer. But when it comes to your mentoring relationship, you want to use that first conversation that we recommended you get to know each other. Use that conversation to decide what's the best platform for you two. Some people are not comfortable on Skype. Others might really want to do video chat, even if they're not in the same city. So that's really up to you to decide with the mentee. Another question from Songbei from Bethesda. Do you target current students either in college or graduate school consultants? I think, and Songbei, maybe you can clarify in the chat box, but I think you mean as mentors, in which case we don't really do that. MicroMentor really recruits mentors who have years of business experience. Of course, there could be someone who's returned to graduate school to get their business master's degree or something like that, and yes, they'd be a good target for the program, but probably not students who have just gone directly from undergrad to their master's degree because they don't have the years of experience. Let me look for our next question. Okay, I think that's all the questions in the chat box right now. I just wanted to take this opportunity to, because we have a few people on the line who are potentially going to sign up as mentors or who already have on our group, as to what kinds of resources would be useful to you to have on the idea group page. So right now we have things like the Framing the Issue worksheet and some articles from MicroMentor about a successful mentoring relationship, some of the things that we've talked about on this call. But what other resources might be useful to you guys, would you want to see on the platform to really enhance the MicroMentor group for IDEA members? And if you like, you can send them in the chat box or email them to us afterward. If you'd like to send them afterward, the best address is information@diasporaalliance.org. And while we're handing out emails, if you have any technical issues on the platform, you can reach out to MicroMentor at at micromentor.org. One more question has just come up from Songbei. It's, are your entrepreneurs mostly from the U.S. or from abroad? Currently within the IDEA group, and I think actually in MicroMentor overall, the majority are from the U.S., but I know that MicroMentor is expanding their markets, and as I said, the platform's currently available in Spanish, English, and French, and I know that they're sort of expanding their global footprint, and potentially the platform's going to be available in other languages soon, and that's showing that they have plans to really expand their networks beyond the U.S., but I think the majority of them are in the U.S. now. As for IDEA specifically, thanks, Thuy, for the and can you tell us maybe what regions or countries you guys might be focusing on or moving to next?
Yes. So we have entrepreneurs from all over the world who join organically, over 50 different countries. But the denser population of our entrepreneurs are where our country initiatives are. And so because we were launched and started in the U.S., our largest population base for entrepreneurs is in the U.S., but we've also in the last year jump-started a program in Mexico and Guatemala, and so in looking to expand into Latin America, and then we are recently just launched in Tunisia, and so we're also interested in conversations with possibly launching in Morocco and other countries in the Middle East. And of course, also more developed countries that the culture of mentoring isn't as new for them versus, for example, like the UK and Canada and Australia are also interested countries that we are looking to expand into.
Excellent. So it sounds like Arabic might be next on the languages that the platform's available in.
Yes, that is actually a priority and an interest for us.
Let's see, a couple other questions popping up. Another from Songbei. Thanks, Songbei, for all your questions. He wants to know, can you search for entrepreneurs near where you live, like by city, if you want to connect with someone that you'd be able to meet with in person on a regular basis?
Yes. So what we have is, if you go into MicroMentor, there's an entrepreneur tab, and that will you will land on a page where all the entrepreneurs are served up to you. And if you go into advanced search setting, there's a field that you can click called Near Me, and you'll be able to that will then populate entrepreneurs that are near you. So let's say you're in a very obscure region or area in China. Unfortunately, maybe entrepreneurs might not show up, but you'll also be able to see other entrepreneurs. So that being said, if there's entrepreneurs near you, they will show up. If they're not, then you'll also be served up other entrepreneurs.
Great. We have another question, and Thuy, you might best be able to answer this. It's a very entrepreneurial question. It's, if the mentee will get a great financial return from the services that the mentor is providing, can the mentor propose a deal that would give them some income in return?
So, no, that's actually against our code of conduct. I think what we provide is an opportunity for you to just give back from all the knowledge that you've gained over the years, and then in turn hoping that the entrepreneur will do that also when the time's right for them. But it's prohibited to ask for any financial returns or like as a gift or etc. for the help that you provide. So it's purely a volunteer goodwill opportunity and not a business one.
That makes sense. Thank you. And I think there was a follow-up from that question. It was, is mentoring always free? The platform is always free to use, and as we've just emphasized, we really want this to be a volunteer relationship and opportunity. And there was one other question just asked for a reiteration of the average time commitment. This really does depend on your individual relationship. but MicroMentor has seen a lot of success and sort of recommends that people meet once or twice a week for about 3 months. Is that right, Twee?
Yes. Obviously, the cadence will change depending on the relationship and depending on the need. We've seen that meetings happen heavier in the beginning when there's that immediate business issue that needs to be resolved. And it may be that after a couple of months, you might meet once a month, or depending on what works best for you and the entrepreneur or you within that relationship. But we have seen that on average, people meet at least once a week for around 3 months.
Okay, excellent. I think those are all the questions. So I'd like to thank everyone for joining today, and I hope you will go to micromentor.org/idea and join our group. If you have any other follow-up questions, please don't hesitate to email us at information@diasporaalliance.org. And if you have any technical questions about the platform, the email address is support@micromentor.org. Thank you all for joining, and we'll hope to catch you on the next webinar.
Thank you, Sarah.